100.7 FM.
Okay, folks. Playtime is over. Men are back. Okay, you know it? So you say after me. Well, folks, until the lions have their own historians, the tales of hunting would always glorify the hunter. And you know, I'll definitely say that again. Well, folks, I said until the lions have their own historians, the tales of hunting would always glorify the hunter. And of all the shows that we have done, today this wise old saying is going to mean so much. Well, hello and welcome to the most opinionated hour on radio and the nation's thought-provoking hour. My name is Nana Ansakwal, the fourth chief of the Little Republic of Akwamu Edumasa. Welcome to another episode of That's My Opinion, our favorite Monday evening ritual. Ritual for patriots, ritual for blue-blooded Ghanaians, ritual for the brave. Folks, and I have a very interesting topic today because, folks, our topic today is indeed that until the lions have their own historians. Yes, that's our topic today. The topic today is until the lions have their own historians. Folks, I have not stopped reminding us of this wide old African proverb. And anytime I begin a show, I remind us that until the lions have their own storytellers, stories of hunting would always praise and glorify the hunter. This proverb is pregnant with wisdom that shouldn't be taken lightly. But why this topic? Well, folks, the documentary Who Killed the Judges was aired. Thanks to Raymond Aqua and the team. Brilliant documentary. And it caught the nation's attention. After the airing, we did what we do best. We divided ourselves into the two usual cults, NPP and NDC. Then we put on our favorite suit made out of 100% hypocrisy. Then mount the media stage and begin to perform. Folks, and sometimes I have said this many times that I can't tell if the actors are genuinely not intelligent or if the actors are just playing to the gallery, but I guess that one too will be left for history to judge. Now, some of the interesting comments were, will they show up the city? And there are more important things to talk about? Will it fill the potholes on my road? There was nothing new in the documentary. I already knew everything that was said. And this was, one of the lowest point in our history. Folks, this was one of the lowest of our lows. Family members who were affected are still alive. Wounds, though covered, are still raw underneath. So why don't you let sleeping dogs lie? After all, there are other events in history to be covered. Why this one? The whole nation has sat down and tried to make peace. Whether we reach the resolution or not, it's over, it's dead and gone. Let sleeping dogs lie. Folks, this event, the killing of the judges, happened when millions of people today were not born. However, is history told based on how many people were born or based on how many people witnessed the event? Maybe that's the thinking that's killing us. I find it very pedestrian. It's just like saying, oh, but I know Kwame Nkrumah was involved in the declaration of independence and fighting for independence. Why will you do a documentary or a movie about him? Have you found any new information? Or is it the same 6 March? If that, then there's no need to tell the history. Because after all, we know Nkrumah and the independence stories. So why do you even bother making a documentary or a movie about it? I know everything there is to know. Folks, history, whether gruesome or kind, should be told and retold and films made, particularly those that shake the nation to its foundation, cannot be left for over 30 years. That alone was an indictment on us. That alone was an indictment on us. And not making the documentary, it's leaving it for so long, is what we have to answer for. Is it not time? It's not for time wasting, folks, that when the full moon was up, our forebearers in their communities will gather, and the old will tell stories to the young of how they arrived there, why they chose that land, the security they found in the land, the advantage they found in that land, how they chose the name of the land or the town, the battles they fought, the heroes they lost, the pact they entered into before settling, the allegiance they swear to, and most of all, the dark moments in history they vow never to repeat. But there is what they call the spiritual advantage. Why, of all the places, why did they settle there? Folks, once that thing is found, the people that live in whatever place they found, the reason why they settled there, always prosper. Folks, almost every full moon or every Akwesidae, they repeated the stories. They sang songs which also told their stories. Their stories were not always good. Some were sad stories. Folks, they were the lions and they had their own historians. So in those days, folks, it was very hard for chiefs to just dissipate land for their own selfish gains. It was rare. It would be very difficult for some Chinese to just freely come into the land and just poison their water with impunity and go away. It was near impossible. Folks, the main difference is that they knew their story. So they knew who they were. Folks, they had suffered and gained that land. And they knew their suffering and valued the gain, which was the main source of pride and confidence. Whoever you are, that is your main source of pride and confidence, by knowing who you are. That's how you stand tall. Now, this doesn't come from picking parts of your history and deciding which one to withhold and which one not to withhold. Even if your king fell in war, that was a sad story. That painfully, but yet they told the story that on such a battlefield, our king fell. And to communities and whether traditional leaders, it was one of the painful things to lose a general in war. Yet, those stories were told. Folks, the lack of history the lack of history is doing us a great harm. And what the lack of history is doing to us as a people will become more clearer in the near future. But maybe, folks, maybe, with the way things are going, we may be too lame that even in the midst of our total enslavement, we will not notice because there will be no history to compare it with. And so maybe in the midst of it, we may not know. Folks, with all the knowledge today, why will a young man walk across a desert? And I'm talking about the Sahara of all places. With all the knowledge, why would the person, folks, go and buy bleaching cream to lighten their skin? Folks, there are morals in history. There are pride and confidence in history. And above all, plenty of wisdom. Nations go to every length to make sure that their history is not lost. Even air crash incidents are documented, recorded, filmed, and reenacted. Air crash investigation. And I tell you, folks, if Kwame Nkrumah had been from elsewhere, not here, we would have about 6 blockbuster movies about him. J.B. Dankwa would have a movie. The Big Six would have a movie. The story of Okomfo Anokye would definitely be on the big screen. And Sasasraku of Akwemu, the first black man to hijack a major European fort and rule it for a year. A man who created the traditional governance as we know it today, Benkum Nifa Jasi Chidom. He came up with this structure that everywhere you go today is being practiced. Yet no film. Jerry John Rawlings, 2 coup d'etats with military rule, 2 terms as a civilian president, and hand over peacefully to an opposition government. Still no movie. So I ask, what does it take to earn a place in Ghana's history? Folks, what does it take to earn a place in Ghana's history? Because even a fictional character, Robin Hood, has tens and tens of movies. A fictional character, Robin Hood, has tens and tens of movies. So what does it take? What does one have to do to earn a place? June 3rd flooding, no movie. The year today there was this gas explosion, no movie. Folks, 9/11 has got probably 4 movies and counting. Mandela has about 4 movies and counting. So what does it take? From the greatest irony is that those who oppose Raymond will always go back into the same history they condemn to make references and quotations from people who made quotes in history. Folks, let me tell you, when you don't have historians, your forefathers will be ancestors, while the storytellers will be a saint. Your place of worship will be called shrine, while the storytellers will be called an altar. Your men of God shall be called fetish, while the same for his will be called priest. Black will be evil, and white will be good. Your natural herbs will be heathen, while his artificial chemicals will be godly. And the list goes on. But because we don't go back and think that we can build on what we have now based on the lies, folks, we build on this wrong assumption that all things black are evil. Today, children do not speak any Ghanaian language, though they have never been to Kotoka. And those who can even master a few words are ashamed to speak it when their friends are around. Folks, if we continue to ignore history, we are better off signing a new pact and just getting a peaceful colonization. Without history, folks, your best bet is just to call your colonial masters and say, come, let us sign a new pact. Where else would you get your confidence from? Folks, the easiest location for any man is where he has come from. That is the easiest location, where you have come from. Because at least where you are getting to, you may get lost or you may need a finger to point you in the right direction. But if you don't know even where you came from, folks, how would you know where you're trying to get to? Folks, for 400 years, millions and millions and millions of black people went through horrific and abusive slavery. Horrific and abusive slavery. For a short period, our fellow Jews also went through the Holocaust. 2 million died. 400 million in excess died here. And we think it's business as usual. Folk, we forget too quick and we forget everything. And so, you know what? History always repeats itself. Now, I did a show here and I told you that back in the day, those days when the slaves were being taken away, I mean, to buy a slave was like $3,000, $4,000, $10,000 a slave. Folk, today it's like $460. And even that, they have to walk across the desert themselves to get themselves sold. And that's what denial of history does to a person. You don't know who you are. You have no value. You have no worth because you think your life began today, not based on anything. You haven't got forebearers who fought for you, who defended you, nothing. And therefore you sold, you can be sold for $400. Where many, many years ago, your same forebearers who were captured were being sold for $3,000, $6,000, $8,000. That's what history can do to you, folks. It is near madness. Folks, denial of history, it's near madness. Yes, you wake up all right, you will groom all right, you wear your white shirt, but you're just a walking madman, not knowing who you are. So I say I equal to Raymond, and I pray he has the courage and energy to do more of such stories. As to why this and not that, I think it's just a hogwash. Well, if you're so bothered about that, what stops you from doing it? I mean, everybody has the right to tell their history. And so if you want to start with something else, start with something else. Let us be a competition of telling our stories. Because it is one of the great disservices we would have done for our descendants to go away and not leave anything for them to come and study, so they avoid the mistakes that we do. But come and look at us. I mean, for a people that repeat our mistakes with the benefit of hindsight. Folks, we repeat mistakes with the benefit of hindsight. It doesn't get lower than that. It does not get lower than that. For a people who know that June 3rd, June 4th, there will be flooding, there will be rain, and we sit down and the flooding and the rain will come and take us away. We know that the Bagri Dam will be open at a certain point and it will open and come and take us away. We know that the Wager Dam will spill and it will spill and we still go and build in the spillage way and comes to take us away. Folks, some of the words, is not acceptable here. Particularly when you're speaking English. Again, I don't understand. There's a different level that you're marked with when you're broadcasting in English. If it was in Tree, I could have said anything and it would be accepted. But I'll leave you to fill in the gaps. Because as I speak, there's people still building within the Wager Dam spillage. How would you describe yourself? Find a nice African word to fill it in with. But folks, the denial of history, it's a self-denial. And self-denial, folks, I've said it here before, is worse than suicide. And suicide is one of the lowest points in everybody's life, to just get fed up and decide that you're ending it all. But if you are alive and you are denying yourself, folks, you're worse than the guy who said he was going to end it. The Lockerbie bombing has got its fill. The shooting of JFK has got its fill. And here we are, arguing as to whether this event should have been shown or not shown. Can you believe it? such a low point in a country's life. And you think we have to leave it in history so that what? It repeats itself? I beg to differ. And I think this should be a clarion call for all of us to go back and tell these historians to get their political influences out of it, even though there's nothing like an objective historian. Everybody will approach it from their own view. Fine, fair enough. So far as not MPP or NDC, come with it with any view you have. But let us have, because that is the blessing of history, to have one story being told 3-4 times. It helps us to understand the approaches of issues. And it gives us maturity. But we have too much rich stories being buried, died, and going away. And here we are. We have a generation coming up. And I bet you, without history, they are all slaves. Folks, without history, to give them confidence and pride, to appreciate the melanin in their skin, their woolly hair, their broad nose, and their curvy bodies, folks, we are grooming slaves who will speak the best of English, eat the best of English food, and live for a visa to immediately escape from this land. And when they are ready to die, they will ship them home and bury them. But when they have to practice their law and their medicine, they will find other places to go. Where you have, we've gotten to the stage where the average, you have a doctor who wouldn't mind going to clean in somebody's country than sit here and practice doctor. Ask yourself why. So folks, in denying our history, we are just signing a new slavery pact. My name is Nana Nsakwa. And I am saying that until the lions have their own historians, the tales of hunting would always glorify the hunter. Michael Busumpim said, Nana, you have said it too. We are just a bunch of unserious people. Maybe, oh Nana, we have just sold our heritage to our selfish stomachs. What's your opinion on this subject? Okay, let me go to the phone. And who's my first call? Oh, no, I have another message here. Is from Sisi Kole. When people are hungry, they only think of how to feed themselves. That's why majority are seriously engaged in corrupt practices. History is relegated to the background. How much will they make after film about politics? Kofi Fuga, people just never learn from past catastrophes. Really shocking. 0302-216-541. Send me a WhatsApp on 0244 340 437. Let me go to Tessano because Prosper is there. Hello, Prosper.
It's Foster, not Testa. Foster from Tessano.
Oh, Foster. Talk to me, my brother.
Okay, I like your presentation, and I want to hear the story of Kwame Nkrumah, Champo, up to Lawrence time, and what happened between everything. And I'll be happy if JFM could have a research department for our history, not specifically things that shook the nation, but things that okay, good or bad. And I'll be very, very happy to listen and watch. I am very, very grateful.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I'll be too. I mean, a Champion story should not die. I mean, one of the persons that history has dealt a big blow to is Achampong. History has really dealt him a big blow. And I think I need to repeat Achampong's. I did a Chronicles of Achampong. I think I need to repeat it. Samson is on the phone. Hello, Samson.
Hello, Nana.
Thank you very much. Samson, let me hear you.
Permission to call you King David. And a permission to read. I'm reading from the dictionary. Definition of law. the law is a whole system of rule that everyone in a country or a society must obey. The third definition of democracy, fair and equal treatment of everyone in an organization and their right to take a decision. And now, Lawrence killed 20 years, 30 years ago. Today, they are pulling his leg. Police killed yesterday, a week, a month, a year ago, and nothing happens to them. Greco.
What do you mean Rollins killed? Look, my brother, when you something, I'm going to bar you from this show. Okay, last week you made a negative comment. I didn't say anything. This week you're making negative. When you call into my show, my brother, you make sensible comments. Otherwise, I'm going to get a bit upset with you. Please. Let me speak to Kofi. Hello, Kofi.
Good evening, Nana.
Good evening, my brother.
Thank you for the educative show this evening. Yeah, I just want to say that history should be made a core subject in all the levels of education in the country. We should retell our stories from day one, from KG1 up to whatever level. It's a masterpiece. I love it. Let's do it.
Thank you.
Now and ever.
Thank you very much. I just got this one from Dr. Padiaite. He sent me a picture, right? And it's Dr. Benjamin W. Kotekwe Papafio. Was not only the first Ghanaian, but also the first black African medical doctor and the first to operate in a private clinic. He was trained in England after completing Fora Bay College in Sierra Leone. He eventually had his medical practice degree and license in 1886. He died in 1924. These are the stories that make you proud. Hello, Kwajo.
Yes.
Kwajo, let me hear you.
I think the easiest way for Ghana to be itself out is for leadership. And here we have entrusted our whole life and death into the hands of politicians. And irrespective of where they are from, irrespective of what they are doing to us, we seem to be entrenched in our ideology. So whether we are doing good or we are doing evil, we find ourselves in the background. I believe that this documentary is just the beginning of many things that have to be unraveled. I heard a police officer saying that there can always be truth and reconciliation, but the truth must always prevail. And the truth must not be a premeditated one, in that if this person or this group of people haven't been found guilty as per our whims and caprice, that means the truth is not revealed. So as a nation, we need to be brutally honest with ourselves.
And I can agree with you more. This is my son Malik, who's in Adenta, but now is listening in Kumasi, and he's with Mr. Mokri, and they're all listening in Kumasi. So to Malik and Mr. Mokri, enjoy the show. Elliot is in Tema. Hello, Elliot.
Yes, sir. Evening.
Good evening.
Yeah. Nana, this documentary, I, for one, I don't support this documentary.
Then you are a very lost person.
Because there were incidences long before the 82, even though I wasn't born then anyway. But if Raymond claimed we should know our history, he should have...
No, not Raymond. Not Raymond claiming you should know our history. It is a fact. You should know your history.
When I listened to him, asking him the reason why he chose that documentary, he says he wanted people to know the history behind that, and then to know our history is a piece of documentaries that he has to do. I think he can be right only when he started from somewhere before the 82. You understand? That is my worry. If he was to start from somewhere before the 82,
so
I would be happy.
So basically, you want him to pick something that you would have been satisfied with?
He should have started from somewhere.
Who made that law? Who made that law that he should start from somewhere?
No, we can't start knowing our history from the middle. I don't get it.
So what? He should start from Diago de Azambuja?
He should start from somewhere.
So where? From where? From Diago de Azambuja, or from when we came from Shonga Hills?
History from the middle, where we cannot even know the beginning.
Of course, he picks what he picks what he's passionate about. You don't decide for somebody that go and start from when we came from Mali Empire. That's his point of history, and this particular event is significant. So, as for that, I really beg to differ that you say, oh, well, he started from there or started from there. It's only when you're so politically drunk and aligned, and then everything is seen from a political lens. This particular event, skip the politics out, is something that shouldn't happen again. That's all. That's all. Let me speak to Michael in East Legon. Hello, Michael.
Nana, how are you?
I'm very good.
I've been listening to your program for so many years now. It's the first time I'm actually calling.
And I'm very honored.
I love the history part, Nana. And it's a shame that as a country, we have deliberately, I don't know if it's a good word to use, the contents of what I want to say, just thrown our culture away. The rate at which we do not add value or even respect our culture, who we are, what makes us as Ghanaians. And we have blindly or deliberately adopted Western culture. And everything within us has just become westernized. Even marriage. Look, I remember watching my grandmom and my granddad, and they had a lovely marriage. I remember my uncles, even my own parents. But Nana, today, look at the rate of divorce that is happening amongst the young people who are even marrying. And the kind of things young men and young ladies would tell you that is how marriage should be. And you'll be asking yourself, did they come out of Ghanaian homes? Were they even given some amount of training? It is actually, we have just thrown everything away. Secondly, I'll tell you something. With everything that you had just mentioned that we could make documentaries on, I just realized that Ghana has a rich history to sell to the world, a rich history, that we can use as tourism, that people could actually just come to Ghana just to want to see these things premiering, around our movie theaters, and the amount of money we could make just as a result of this impact in tourism. I just wish that, or I just hope that the people that matter will be listening to you and take some business and knowledge from what you are saying, because these are rich culture we have, but it's unfortunate, Nana.
I share your passion. In New Ningo is Kweku. Hello, Kweku.
Yeah, Nana.
Let me hear you.
Yeah, good evening, Nana.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Kweku from New Ningo. Nana, Raymond Nakwa should have started from somewhere. And Raymond started from somewhere. And some of us are not happy with where he started from. I think some of us should be just patient, okay? Raymond will come to where we will be very comfortable with where we have to go, okay? Please, we have to know where we're coming from and where we're going. So please, let us take our time and just listen to whatever is going on. We have to know whatever that went on, that we have to just nip it in the bud, Nana. Please, Ghana, just come over these things and just move on. We are so divided. Please.
Can you imagine Okonfa-Notchie coming from France, or Okonfa-Notchie from Japan, or Okonfa-Notchie from the UK, where, some of the things are there today. The golden stool is there, the sword, his footprint. You know something? We would have Ghanaians who send their children to Oxford and come back with Okonfa-Notchie experts. Expert in Okonfa-Notchiology or whatever it is, and we'll be proud to say, oh yes, my son, was in Oxford and is an expert in Okonfa-Notchie. Just like we quote Shakespeare, we'll be quoting Okonfa-Notchie. I'm telling you. This was a man who lived with us. But if you mention him, because you don't have storytellers, they'll tell you he's a heathen. In Shira Apia, people are not people. Whatever you do, people will talk about it. Americans cherish our uniqueness. but we are throwing our culture away. What a shock. Hello, and PK.
Yes, Nana.
Yes, PK, all the way from Takoradi. Let me hear you.
Yes. I've been listening, but I'm calling for the first time.
Thank you.
Well, Raymond chose said crimes that shook the nation.
Mm-hmm.
So we have our political history, religious history, economic history.
Mm-hmm.
So you also choose one. Maybe I can choose maybe when Ghanaians, when we were, what we call it, monkeys that became Ghanaians. So you can also do that. So I don't think we should begrudge anybody from doing whatever they choose to, or whichever part of the history of Ghana they want to talk about or highlight. Everybody can do something. Like you are saying, there are a whole lot of things that we can talk about, Kung Fu and the rest. Yes, so let's also talk about when we were animals and we came from what is the Great Bang or the Big Bang or something. Let people also go and do that and get others to people to go and watch.
Let us compete to tell our story. Ajua Fenyi Nana, I am watching you live from the Bronx, New York, and this is my first time of this program. It's very educative. Let me wave at Ajua Fenyi. So log on to Facebook, Facebook Live, Joy 99.7 FM, and you can see me live while I try to tell us that the knowledge of history, folks, is not an option. It's not a choice. It's a must. It is a must, because that is where we will build our pride and confidence. That's how come a Chinese won't come and walk over you and destroy your water, because you say, and you'll be proud to drink the brim, and so you won't let anybody disturb it. You know, you come from a forest area and you're proud of the forest, and so you won't let anybody to just venture in it and destroy, because they've told you how it is, they secured it. But today we have no stories. Neither do we have storytellers. Let me speak to Ernest. Hello, Ernest.
Hello.
Yes, boss. Yes, sir.
Thank you so much for today's program. I've been listening to your program for a long time now, almost every time. I've never felt obliged to call in like today.
Today I'm honored.
And I've never so proud of my child like today. You know, I've been telling my children that if you can't speak your language, the Ewe language, if you can't speak it, you are lost.
Mm-hmm.
And really, you've proved everything today. I just want to thank you for today's program. And our history makes who we are.
Yeah.
I lived outside. I've never lost trace of my culture till today. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, too. Charles Kujau II. That's why our brothers from Nigeria are claiming the ownership of High Life. If you don't claim it, they will claim it for you. We owe it to ourselves. Folks, you see oh my God. You see, let me tell you a little bit about Ansa Sasraku. Now, here's a Ghanaian many years ago, right? And he sent his son on a voyage to the UK to go and learn how to speak English and come back so that he can, when he was trading between the white people, his son could be the interpreter. And when they got to Barbados, they sold his son as a slave. So he waited and waited, and his son wasn't coming. And he wasn't hearing from his son. And he issued a fatwa that there will be no white man alive in the Gold Coast if they don't bring his son. And so they asked, where is this guy? And they said, oh, they sold him in Barbados. Hey! So quickly, they went to Barbados, searched for him, bought him back because he had been sold as a slave, took him to the UK to go and learn how to speak English. How do you let such a story die? This is the man who went to the castle, captured the castle, drove them out. So for 1 year, he was there dealing with the traders. When they come, you have to come and deal with him. His nephew Asmani. So between Ansa Sasraku and Asmani, they were running the Christian Castle. There should be a film, so that we all own it. Look at what Yaa Asantewaa did. I don't think if you are Ewe or if you are from Navrongo, for you, Yaa Asantewaa depicts a strong black woman, not from Kumasi or anywhere. We don't care. So far as it's Yaa Asantewaa, she was black and she was ours, and therefore you tap into her glory. That's how history is told. It shouldn't die. We should tell our history. Mustafa Ibrahim says the bombing of Dr. Nkrumah, the various military government, the struggle for independence, the slave trade, all these stories would be told on our behalf. I'm going to the USA because Kwabna is there. Ojam. Hello, Kwabna.
Hello, Nana. How are you doing?
I'm very well, Kwabna.
Hey, Nana, I've become a passionate listener of your program.
And I'm very honored.
I don't miss it on Mondays. I don't miss it on Mondays at all.
I am honored, Kwabna. Let me hear your take on this issue.
Okay. I got into your program in midway when you were introducing the program. But what I heard is you said history as a way of boosting our confidence. And you're right. You know, and if we are people and we don't know our history, and then we become a timid people. And that's what we become right now. We are not able to petition our government. We are not able to stand against oppressive rule and bad things in our society.
I couldn't agree with you more, folks, but I'm telling you, if you want to be confident, know who you are. It's as simple as that. If you want to be confident, know who you are, where you came from, and why you even settled there. Folks, that's where your confidence comes from. And it doesn't matter how terrible the history is. Just know it. Just know who your grandparents are, who their parents were, and who their parents were. Folks, Atate Chua once upon a time lived in the Dumasa. She moved, gave birth to Derek is on the phone. Hello, Derek.
Hello.
Yes.
Nampakwao.
Yes, boss.
I'm an ardent listener of your program.
Great.
But today, I'm quite disappointed.
Good. Let me hear your disappointment.
I think your program should be receptive to people's opinions. But it seems you have taken an entrenched position.
No, it's not that I've taken an entrenched position. It's a fact. Honestly. Normally I leave room for, but today it's a fact. Derek, if you don't know your history, I tell you, whoever you are, if you don't know your history.
I really support we knowing our history because I wasn't born at that time. But I think you should also be receptive to the opinions shared by the other people so that it will be balanced, or else it will be more biased to only your opinion.
Derek, as for today's show, is whether we like it or it has to be biased. Because history shouldn't even be the fact that I wasn't there. I mean, look, 2 years ago when we had June 3, I'm telling you, if we were in New York by now, June 3 movie would have been on a Blockbuster, and you and I will be going with a pen drive to download it to go and watch June 3. And they will capture as many of the victims as possible so that people won't come and repeat it. Doesn't mean you have to die and go before it's history. So that's for today, dear Derek. You have to pardon me. It just whether you like it or not, we have to know our history. Hello, who's talking to me?
Hello, Nana.
Yes, Derek.
Hey, your own son, Derek.
Too long. Let me hear you.
Nana, I cannot agree with you more. You see, the problem we have here is because we don't want to hear our own story, we always find ourselves wondering. You wouldn't be surprised. My daddy was born 1902. And then King Haile Selassie was born 1898. And then those that went to school with my father, about 90% of them are grieving monkeys. So I find it difficult. If you are not telling our stories, and Selassie is a black from Africa, and this is all his books, and we still accept that we are monkeys, or we came from monkeys. Nana, thank you.
Thank you very much too. Former USA President John F. Kennedy was assassinated by Lee Harvey Oswald in November '63. Lee Harvey Oswald was also assassinated by Jack Ruby. So a committee was set up by President Johnson, headed by L. Warren, to investigate and report as to what was the issue. So the judge's murder and the army officer documentary showed on Joy News was very important for people to know what happened in the past, because this has been in the head of people for long. What actually happened to these judges? Kudos to Raymond Aqua and Multimedia, Peter from McCarthy Hill. Hello, Osei in Accra. Hello, Osei.
Hello, Nana. Good evening.
Good evening. Let me hear you.
Thank you for the program.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can't, my take is that we can't take everything from history. It starts from a point at one point in time. And the purpose for which he did the commentary was to showcase who killed the guy. And so that is all. So I don't see why people are saying you should go to somewhere that are history. He cannot tell all our history in one particular case. So I think that we need to tell part of it at a time, and at another time, we tell another part of it. So thank you very much for giving us such a wonderful documentary. Those of us who were old at that time, we know, but even this one has enlightened us the more. And thank you very much for today's program.
I thank you too, my brother. This is Nana Yabuedu Poku. Good evening, Nana. I'm really happy to be part of this program for the first time. Kudos to you, Raymond and Multimedia Group. Very, very educated. You see, maybe 100 years from today, you and I will not be here. But our great-great-grandchildren will just pray and they would watch it. And say, this is what happened many, many years ago. Let us make sure we don't relive it. Another problem with Ghanaians is that we do not want to learn our history. Majority, I think, do not even understand the world history. Why was it scrapped from the syllabi of our primary schools? It's time we go back and teach our children in the basic schools. This is Odame Ochre of Abeka. Abigail Cranting, Nana said we should pardon him, and I agree with him. The fact is clear. We should know our history. Yes, Abigail, as for today, it's a very biased show. Whether you like it or not, you have to agree with me. Folks, look at what we have become. I mean, there used to be a little, corner around where I used to live, and this little girl who, has a little stall, sells plantains and Maggie cubes and stuff like that. And I go there and she's speaking English, broken English with a little boy. And I say, but you are Ewe. She said, I said, speak Ewe with your son. When he goes to school, he will learn how to speak English. Why are you so afraid to speak Ewe with this little boy, this handsome little boy? Starting to enslave this boy from this young age. But let me go to Adrian. Ronald is there. Hello, Ronald.
Hi, Nana. Good evening.
Good evening.
Nana, why?
That's it.
Nipa no friend, nipa na semba. When the Bible was written, you and I were not there. Mm-hmm. Moses came and did his. Samuel came and did his. Isaiah came and did his. So in the same vein, Raymond is doing his. He, the one who called, what can he do for someone to come and read and tell the generation yet unborn? So Nana, you are on course. Do all you can, okay?
I'll try my best, my brother. I will try my best. But this goes to my lovely, lovely, lovely sister-in-law. Very happy anniversary to you, Juanita Dansumisa. Juanita Dansumisa. Well, and my brother, KT Dansumisa. Happy wedding anniversary, Juanita of Ghana Gas. Happy anniversary, and hurry up and bring our niece or nephew. Pop him or her out. We are waiting. But Nee is on the line. Hello, Nee.
Hi.
Nee, let me hear you.
Okay, all right. So, to the point, I think we are where we are as a country because what happened under a leadership, under a regime, has been left on people have been left off the hook without any punishment, and people have lived off the miseries of others from that time to now. The system will never change if there is not a proper reconciliation. And if there are people who are living today with what happened. I don't know human beings, and those people, they constitute. I'm telling you, when you do a metric and you put them together, they constitute like 1 million people in this country inside. I don't know human beings. We have to to sit at the table and find.
I agree with you. Let me speak to Nene Kwame in Spintex. Hello, Kwame.
Yeah.
Good evening. Let me hear you.
Okay, sometimes I just wonder how our country is actually going and how we even think as a people. Because if you want to talk about somebody like Okomfanoche right now, people will even point fingers to you to evil stuff. But then they want us to read about all these white people and all this, their history that doesn't even make sense to us. And I wish we could actually go back, as you're saying, to what we are meant to be. When you want to read all this Moses, all this other Elijah, they were like a Okomfanoche because they are prophets, and God talks to them like that. That is how God decides to talk to us as black people. So what is it with all this thing? And I think you guys are doing a good show. I think we as a people need to reason up and move up. This will help us to grow as a country. That's what I believe in, and that's what I want to share with you.
Thank you very much. Guy Fawkes, right? Once upon a time, Guy Fawkes tried to bomb the UK Parliament. Today, every year they have big fireworks for Guy Fawkes. Guy Fawkes, he just put bombs and stuff under the UK Parliament trying to bomb it. He wasn't successful. And to date, they have big fireworks night for Guy Fawkes. Folks, every event in our history should be played and replayed. Should be played and replayed. The story of Owusu Achim Tinting should be told. They say he used to get so angry, smoke used to come from his ears. These are stories that should be told. My name is Nana Ansakwa. Once again, happy anniversary to my lovely sister-in-law and brother, Katie Dansumisa and Juanita Dansumisa. But folks, until the lions have their own historians, the tales of hunting would always glorify the hunter. Until next Monday that I come to you with a different opinion, let's have a beautiful week. Ernest Menu is next. And then Sammy Forsing will come and overdrive you while you are thinking as to whether our history is negotiable or not, where we start from the middle, back, front, or back. Sammy Forsing would overdrive you. Ayiko to Raymond Aqua.
Hello, it's 8 o'clock from the Joy Newsroom. Here are the latest news headlines with me, Ernest Menu. The National Commission for Civic Education has challenged the governing New Patriotic Party to demonstrate their commitment to the rule of law by causing the arrest and supporting the prosecution of members of vigilante group Delta Force. This follows the attempted attack on the Minister for Monitoring and Evaluation, Dr. Anthony Akotose, at Tafo Pankrono. Addressing the news conference in Accra, chairperson of the NCCE, Madam Josephine Nkrumah, described the spate of political vigilante group activities as a national crisis that demands swift action.
Political party vigilantes have no place or space in our democratic culture. Therefore, the leadership of the NPP must demonstrate to the people of Ghana that the law applies equally to all by actively